Hey Brian, so listen, I had a good idea, right? Potentially like a weekly address early at the beginning of the week, kind of video address. Here's an update, here's a presentation, here's what's happening, here's what I need you guys to do. And then everybody kind of, maybe watches that by Tuesday, Wednesday, touches base with me if there's anything that they specifically need to do, or just lets me know, hey, I got it. Good. Any feedback? I'm probably going to start doing weekly calls to everybody too, just to kind of build rapport so that everybody kind of gets a feel for how things work. So because we didn't get a chance to meet today, I was like, listen, I need to get all this information to you so you can get this stuff to me. So yeah, we're going to have a quick meeting on this, and it should go fast because I'm the only person talking, right? All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over notes from the last meeting, outstanding stuff that we still need to do, update you on a couple things, couple connections that I've made, and then talk about next steps as far as fleshing everything out that we need to flesh out for the collective and the pack. Okay. All right. So I'm going back to the notes from last time. So a couple things I know we didn't get set up for. You're supposed to be setting up meeting with Jody, or the finance person who set up the pack and the collective and all that stuff. I did set up times with Amira. It's going to be kind of jerky for the next couple weeks because of the holiday. So this week might be Wednesday, might be, I think it's Wednesday this week and next week, or one of them is Tuesday. But I know she did send me calendar notices for those. And then I'll text you to the morning of a couple things. I did reach out to Anthony, so he and I are going to coordinate when I can come and record some of the students and stuff. Leon, I know we're supposed to be capturing some footage with Leon. I'll need his number. I'm going to email everybody about just kind of coming out to meet everybody anyway, since most of you guys work outside. It's not too tough to come out and meet you guys. You are going to put me in touch with David Gillespie. I have him listed on here that he started an abatement company. Let's see. I went to see the property on Kensington. Okay. I'm trying to think what else on here we really need to do. We talked about Fiverr the other week. We talked about a quick landing page. I did look at the page for the Black Pack. So they have a Instagram, and then they have and it pretty much is just a one landing page. You just scroll all the way down for everything under the sun, and then there's a donation button and stuff like that. They use a company called, I'm gonna say Give Blue or something, but it's democratically run. So they do say if you want to use their platform for donations, you would have to be democratic. I know we were doing nonpartisan, so I'm thinking probably PayPal might be the easiest to link up with accounts at First Independence. So let me know about that. And this week, I think we really got to get into fleshing out the stuff for the collective and the pack so we can put these logos together and get that stuff ready so we can start putting stuff out, because that's the tough thing about content with no logos. Pretty much a simple logo with a transparent background. Shouldn't take very long to get made. Once we know a couple questions I have on that, I'll go into after I finish the meetings from the last time. So you are going to let me know about the boards that you're sitting on. There's I have a list on here about the workforce advisory boards that you're a part of. Friday early usually works for you for meetings. We'll see in the new year, because the next 2 Fridays we have holiday. Detroit Workforce of the Future was another one of the boards. And that's the end of my notes for that. So those few things that we're going to be covering, some numbers you need to get for me, and fun stuff like that. In the last week, I think I sent you an article for the Legacy Group, which is a group headed by a guy named Keno Smith, who I've known for a long time. He kind of started over in a place called Garden View Estates over off Joy. I think it's like Joy in Southfield. I wouldn't say started it, but he was mentored by a guy over there. So they kind of wanted to set up this almost like a mini Black society where you have like this housing complex, but then you bring all these services that the people who live there need to the place. So Garden View Estates, I think, was kind of, I think originally it was organized for seniors. And So they brought services there that the seniors would need a lot, like physical therapists, hair care, barbers. There's a counselor there. They bring groceries. So the people kind of have the stuff there, and these are all the people that provide the services are Black. So it's kind of like you're recirculating Black dollars in the space, and then the small businesses have space to operate out of on the campus. So they're already doing this at Garden View Estates. They're doing a new development coming in Inkster next year. And so it was so funny to touch base with him the other day. I hadn't even talked to him in quite a while. And he hit me up like, hey, do you see what we're doing over in Inkster? And I used to live in Inkster for a few years. And so was just putting him in touch with a couple people that I know are still doing a lot of stuff out there. And that made me think about you guys, because I was like, man, just it's so interesting how when the words coalition go up in the air, how many people just start gravitating towards things that are happening. The Romero Group, have you guys ever worked with them? They did some services at our house recently through a program for DTE where they had, they were doing like free installation and installing furnaces and caulking and stuff like that. And the group of guys that came out was from a place called the Romero Group that we found out was, it's a Black-owned construction. I think he does more design sort of stuff, but clearly they do some contract stuff, and they're part of this. It's, I think it's DTE and SEAL, SEEL, where they give people like free windows, furnaces, refrigerators and stuff. So the Romero Group is another Black-owned group that I ran into recently. And then there's a couple other groups that I'm going to be following up with. And that was a major question I had too. As far as the collective, I know that we are focusing on construction and skilled trades starting out. As far as when I'm thinking about mobilizing large amounts of the community, you saw the 5-finger kind of hand strategy I showed you guys in the last presentation piece. And I was going to change that, but I wanted to check with you. Are we focusing solely on skilled trades, or do we want to open that up more? Because I think it would be good to have a more diverse group of people that we're touching. I know for policy issues, we're looking to focus on the skilled trades and jobs and things like that, and definitely bringing people's attention to that. But as far as the coalition and awareness and getting like the maximum amount of people that we can to be voting in the upcoming election and to be paying attention to policies, are we mainly going to focus on construction there? So that's a point that we need to clarify, so I can make sure as I'm building out content schedules and stuff that I'm aware that we're not, or if we are. And then that also helps with contacting groups and organizations and stuff too. That would make a shorter list of groups. And we also need to do that too. I'm going to be sending something out to kind of do when I meet people, then it's going to kind of be a listing of where we need to kind of build the network, because I'm sure everybody in the collective has people that they know that would be like, oh yeah, they run a group over there, talk to them so you can talk to their people, or go meet with them so they can, oh yeah, call such and such over there. So we need to collect that stuff as soon as possible, because come the beginning of January, when everybody's starting to meet again, I'm sure there's a lot of meetings I'm going to need to be in and introducing myself to a lot of folks. So getting ready for that and wanting to plan some of that stuff out earlier, just so we can have a good time frame, and then making sure we're setting up meetings with you guys and stuff, of course, too, to get a lot of the footage and everything we want to do for the B-roll and just creating the awareness and stuff. I'm hoping with EITI and the footage that I get from them, we can at least do some short, even if it's just like a 20-30 second kind of like promotional video, just that they can put around. And if they want, they could even use it for like Facebook ads and stuff, just to kind of promote them a little more, even, and not even for ads. Like, I mean, Anthony could share it and everybody he knows could share it, you know, things like that can kind of move around really easily. So I'm excited about that. That's all the old stuff. That's people I connected with last week. And this is for today. So looking at this, it's sort of like a framework. There's a coalition building kind of tutorial framework. It's harder to describe than it needs to be. And I think I'm just gonna put a slide in here in the video so you can see it. Of course, all sample answers, but I think they are probably pointing close to the direction that we want to be with it. So I want you to look at that. At the top of it, it says Black Conscious Collective, increase Black voter participation in 2021 city election. And that's kind of the vision for the collective. The goal is to do a similar one for the PAC, just so we can keep those things separated. But you'll see it on the screen so you can kind of examine that. So on the left-hand side, it has the vision, the impact, the outcomes, and the strategies. And the way it works is kind of from the bottom up. So strategies at the bottom, things like online public political education via social media, programming to train and employ previously incarcerated individuals, developing a candidate platform of issues, building and collecting evidence for education and advocacy, some grassroots organizing, and then network building by district. What those strategies will do is create certain outcomes, such as greater awareness of the Black Conscious Collective agenda and power in the Black community to affect change. One of the major outcomes within that kind of branches off into increasing individual understanding of city government, interconnectedness amongst multiple community sectors, clear set of priorities for residents to objectively evaluate candidates, increased power and reach within the collective membership, and residents inspired to act, advocate, and participate, which feeds into the impact that it will have, which will be increased African-American voting in Detroit, access to high-paying skills trade jobs, access to high-quality pre-apprenticeship job training in the city of Detroit, eliminate feelings of powerlessness and disenfranchisement, increase resident involvement in local politics, and increased elected official recognition of Black voter issues and accountability, which would lead to our goal of increased Black voter participation, ideally. And this is all, of course, adjustable. So just let me know if you want anything to change from this, and then we can edit that, at least until after the holiday, versus having a meeting where we all have to come to, because I think you guys' schedules are very everywhere. So I still want there to be communication, and then I'm going to be trying to kind of bump into everybody separately anyway, just to kind of see what sort of things I can kind of pick up from each person and just kind of bring more clarity. That way we have a list of things on the table that we're kind of building into, and then we're really, really clear in the coming weeks about what the messaging is going to be, about whatever group sloganing, messaging, or whatever we're going to be doing, so that we're super, super clear about that. And so part of the coalition stuff, we were saying, we wanted to pull out so we can have some really specific things that we're working towards, looking at the outline. So the goal is for right now, for us to pull out all of the written information, whether that's actually written or written in your mind. I know how visionaries do. Visionaries will have a thing written inside. Okay, so if it's inside, it might just be some dictation and spewing some stuff out of there so we can get that onto paper. And then, of course, have a meeting with key decision makers. And I think I want to do that after I kind of pull some, hey, who's in your network that you feel like is so on board, like, give me those people, give me the people that you feel like might be like, give me them, and then the people that you're gonna be like, oh, hell no, those people too. The ones we gotta bring kicking and screaming, so that we can put those together. I've been working on some mapping, just because of the time that we have. I definitely want to do some targeted stuff in each district. So what I've been looking at is, by district, the neighborhoods that have the highest concentration of African Americans. Like, I'm looking at like 95% and up. And so those neighborhoods are the neighborhoods in each district that I want to start with. Each district is looking like we're going to focus on 6 or 7 neighborhoods where we can really kind of engage community groups, businesses, over a time frame, get involved with some of the stuff that they're doing, see what sorts of things we can support, and just kind of leave a lasting impression as we're putting out more content and information there. As we're building breadcrumbs, is what I like to call it. They're, kind of picking up on that. And we have some direct contacts over there versus just kind of shooting massive amounts of arrows in a direction. So I have narrowed that down in most of the districts except the East Side districts. And so then I'll be working on those probably by tomorrow. All of the neighborhoods should be listed by tomorrow. And then I'll be looking at zip codes, because realistically targeted like Facebook ads and stuff work best when you have zip codes connected to them, because then you can really get in front of the people. Also things like Nextdoor are targeted to neighborhoods. So if we said, you know, we want to talk to Fitzgerald, or we want to talk to Bagley, or we want to talk to University District, it will send those things to those people specifically. So I want to make sure that we have that laid out really strategically. And so, yeah, there's that. And then the just kind of some skeletal outline stuff, which is probably already done. I just want to make sure that we cover some of this stuff so that I'm clear, because I know it's probably clear for you, but so that I'm clear when I'm communicating to other people kind of what they need to know, what they need to understand. And then maybe like some frequently asked questions to put together, just so that when people are asking things, we can give them some of the best answers to help them make good decisions. So, one, I definitely want to get clarity on how big we're trying to make members of the coalition. I was also thinking, when we're thinking about, you know, collective coalition, collective members, like say there's 6 businesses now. Do we want to add more businesses, or do we want to have people who might just be, you know, followers per se, people who might want to join a member community on Facebook, but aren't necessarily committing to doing any work? Or do we want to have, you know, 50 businesses in this collective, or 100 businesses in this collective by September, who are all actively spreading the collective's messaging in their respective areas and circles of influence? So that's something I definitely want to clarify, so then I know how I'm moving and what I'm asking of people when I'm connecting with them. Some of the basic principles, what our main thing is that we're addressing, which I believe is voting, but we're also talking about jobs from the PAC perspective. So I definitely think we need to clarify those two. I kind of just want to ask every question with like a line down the middle of the page, like PAC, okay, collective. What's the main thing here? What's the main thing here that we're solving, so that we can kind of have those things separate and marry them together at the same time. Especially once we're creating, once the online stuff is created, I think it'll be easier to just focus on one, because then that stuff is solidified and it exists in the real world. So we definitely need to, for me, I'm big on team stuff, and that's why I think this collective exists. So I'm going to be wanting to look at what are the strengths of all the members of the collective, just to see how we can use those strengths to grow the collective, grow the influence. I know we talked about some people maybe not wanting to be members publicly. And I definitely need to clarify if that's just for PAC stuff or if that's for collective stuff too. Where else was I? Yeah, and then we got to set the objectives. So the objectives and the tactics that I'm looking at, when you see the outline that I put together, of course, there's some things that once we go into each one of those boxes that gets a little bit bigger and stretches out a little bit. And so, and that doesn't have to be a long, extensive, complicated list. I'm a believer that simple, consistent action does better every day of the week than a bunch of overcomplicated goofball stuff, changing it up every week. I don't think we need to do that. So the biggest thing though is, what is the collective thing we're going to be asking everybody, that every member of the collective is going to be asking everybody? If it's Rickman Enterprises, if it's Guyanga, what is everybody saying to everybody they know? Like, you know, what is everybody saying to their network? Wanting to make sure that we have that clear, because the clearer it is for me, the clearer I can make it to other people, so that they can kind of pass that down. And then once we start putting it in the messaging and the online content, I think it'll do fine. I think I know the structure of the collective. At this point, it looks like it's going to kind of be small team led, defining things, and then kind of the founding members of the collective, if you will, and then branching out from there. But hopefully that would mean a division of labor too. What I'm thinking for division of labor stuff is, and we need to get clarity on that as far as what everyone else is doing. So when we think about things like marketing, when we think about things like website, when we think about things like if we're flyering, if we're hosting community events? Is the division of labor like each of the founding companies is going to host a voting event at their company location? Is each of the founding members going to, I don't know, provide space for people who are going to be knocking on doors, making flyers to park at their business while they, do this work, or use their restroom? Just different things. I don't think it's anything huge, but just different things that we're asking, and kind of who's responsible for what. Also, too, I know for the PAC, donations are allowable. For the collective, are we looking to collect funds as well? And if so, who are we looking to collect those from? Are we just kind of doing a general, hey, anybody who wants to donate to this work can? And then what would be the main goal for us? I would think promotion, marketing, advertising, things like that overall. And then, yeah, I've said the clear message again and again. I'm thinking about that a lot. Okay, that and the logo, so we can get that locked down, so we can start putting the messaging in. So that is actually all I had, and I knocked that out in less than 25 minutes. I'm proud of myself. So hopefully, if you made it through this whole video, you were able to kind of get some clarity on some of the stuff I'm thinking about. Feel free to call me. It's almost Monday, but feel free to call me on Monday. I'll be up fairly early because I got some other calls and stuff in the morning. So yeah, I'm pretty much available tomorrow. I have one morning phone meeting that I know about, and then a few like evening Zooms and stuff. But other than that, I'm pretty open all day. Yeah, I think that's it for me. I'm fairly sleepy. So hopefully you had a safe trip, made it back okay. I will talk to you soon. All right.